Yo, what's good? It's your boy C-Jax back with another Smackdown review. It's been a minute since I've done a Smackdown or a Raw review in a normal video setting. I've been doing the streams, but from here on out, we're going to be doing the streams, and then I'm still going to post a shorter review for the show regardless. Because at the end of the day, we have to expose the nonsensical garbage that we get week to week. Zachary Ryder returned. Woo, woo, woo. You know it. You know what I'm saying? I grew up, obviously, watching Zach Ryder because he was, when I was in my childhood, he was one of the wrestlers, obviously, who was on the main roster, of course, and he would show up from time to time, and he was kind of entertaining, at least in my opinion, he was. Obviously, this is Matt Cardona, but, now I guess he's going by Zack Ryder when he appears in WWE, and then if he's in TNA or somewhere else, then they're just going to call him Matt Cardona, but we'll see what happens with it. This is a fun moment we'll talk about later. I'm glad that LA Knight did not get jobbed out by Zack Ryder, but anyways, we're going to talk about that in a second. Every single episode, we should demand a 7+ out of 10 quality show. In Mania season, we should be getting 8 to 9 out of 10 quality shows with the way that triple fraud to Cody Rhodes, and even the rest of the WWE media team like Michael Cole and Corey Graves. You should have heard them during the Ilya Jobber-off, which I'm so done with this jobber. Ilya Jobber-off's U.S. title reign sucks. It sucks, man. It sucks. He wrestles a bunch of jobbers, and Michael Cole's on commentary talking about they're going to put on a banger, and after this, they're going to put on a banger. Ilya Dragunov, Corey, put on another banger. Stop. I don't care what Corey Graves tells Michael Cole back. Hey, Cole, you're right. That was a banger. Not everything is a banger. These matches are garbage, okay? So stop your nonsense. These matches are just not good. This is same match every week versus a jobber that you know isn't going to win. What about that is compelling, interesting, or exciting? You may have one or two great moves in the match, but that's not going to cut it. So let's get into the review for this episode. We started off with a completely garbage and meaningless segment as far as I'm concerned. There was a couple things in there that I thought had some connectivity, though, so let's talk about it. Rhea Ripley comes out, and she's wearing her mask. She comes out with Io Sky. Now, as we've seen with Bayley, of course, which we already know Bayley comes out with the split personality gimmick, the Venom gimmick, as I like to call it, we are Venom, Eddie, we can do whatever we want, yeah, no, okay, we are Venom, we are Bayley, no, we are a jobber. That is what you are. You are a jobber. That is what it is. And now we have Rhea Ripley coming out, and she's talking about I'm Batman. No. You're a jobber too, okay? You know what I'm saying? You don't get excused from this because you wear a different costume outfit. It's not going to cut it, all right? Rhea Ripley comes out. Her and Io Sky talk about absolutely nothing for about 5 minutes. They basically say that, Rhea Ripley says the numbers game is always a problem because it means that your opponents, she awkwardly pauses in between each phrase too. This is exactly how it is. It means that your opponents will have a problem, and that problem is going to be fixed, yeah? Because I'm going to take my baton and never lost, yeah? But she basically says that problem has to be fixed, yeah? And then Io Sky basically says, that problem has to be fixed. And then she basically goes, War Games! And then points at her head and does all that stuff. Yay! Yay! Everything is no! This is an embarrassment. Alexa Bliss is then entered out along with Charlotte Flair. Alexa Bliss basically says that you guys started this feud, the Kabuki Warriors and Lash and Nia, you guys started this and we are going to end it. And she basically says that we don't like you, and that's basically that. Charlotte Flair then gets on the mic, and Charlotte Flair basically says to Rhea Ripley that, all these plans sound great and all, but she tells Rhea that I don't like you. I don't trust you. I think you're a snake. I don't love you. I don't care for you. I don't respect you. You know what I'm saying? And that they have a bad history, and that it's going to boil over, and she can't be part of this team. So Charlotte then leaves the ring, and that's the end of the segment, awkwardly. We then move on from this, and we got The Miz versus Jay Yeetmaster. Now, obviously, I don't know why every single match in the John Cena tournament, which has already been botched, by the way, I've been saying this for weeks, the John Cena tournament has already been botched. We have already gone through, 4 or 5 of the John Cena tournament matches, and every single one of these matches is a bunch of 40-year-old plus dudes. I don't want to see a 40-plus-year-old Miz, who's dang near 50 at this point, or a dang near 50-year-old Sheamus fighting against John Cena in his final match. So because of all of these older wrestlers, we know, number one, they're not winning the tournament, so you're wasting time. Why not give the younger talent an actual chance to win one of these matches so that we can actually be believable? You know what I'm saying? It can be believable if they actually win a match and advance in the tournament. You're like, holy crap, maybe Melo Hayes will win. Maybe Trick Williams will win. You know what I'm saying? Things of that nature. This is just stupid. So that's the situation with that. The match, I will say, was not garbage, but it was nothing above below mid. It was like a 4 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10 match. But when you factor in that Jay Yeetmaster has been putting on Jay has been putting on consistent 3 out of 10 matches for the last 5 to 6 months. The last most of this year at this point. So considering that, this match was average at best. Jay gets the W after hitting an Uso splash, and that's basically the end of the discussion. He advances in the John Cena tournament that we know he's not going to win. Codarius Rodington then comes backstage, and I actually like this segment. Dr. Libations actually came backstage and Paul Heyman asks, what was your business in War Games? Because as we all know, War Games makes no sense and it sucks, right? There's no reason for Cody Rhodes, Codarius Rodington, should not be fighting with CM Punk and the Usos and eventually Roman Reigns versus The Vision and Logan Paul and like probably Brock Lesnar or somebody else as well. That's not going to cut it. It's stupid. But Paul Heyman goes backstage to Nick Aldis and he basically says that, he can take anyone from SmackDown, Raw, or NXT for his War Games team. And Nick Aldis is like, yes, thank you for confirming something that was already in the contract. Cody Rhodes then comes back with his championship belt. Paul Heyman says, you have no reason getting in our business, which he's right, because like I just said, Cody Rhodes and being involved in War Games, along with CM Punk, your two world champions being on the same War Games team in a feud that Cody's not even involved in, makes zero sense at all, and it is stupid. But War Games as a whole needs to be canceled, and hopefully this is the last year they do it. None of these War Games feuds make any sense. None of them make sense. What, the Kabuki Warriors and Nia Jackson Lash Legend, why are they on the same team? Oh, we're both bad guys. Let's team up. What? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Rhea and Io working together makes sense. But like I said, I'm glad that Charlotte did not choose to side with Rhea and Io, because it doesn't make any sense. She's fought both of them in the past, and obviously it wouldn't make sense for her to team up. But the whole formulation of how War Games teams work, it's just good guys team up and bad guys team up. You might as well go back to having Raw versus SmackDown and just go that way. What is the point of this? This is just stupid at this point. Nothing makes sense, and War Games is a waste of time. Anyways, because again, like I said before, it's not enough to just have stars on a show, right? I understand that you're going to have Roman, Punk, and Cody on the same team, and then you're going to have Logan Paul and Brock Lesnar on the other team. I get it. You're going to have some stars in there. It's going to have some star power. I understand that. But that's not going to cut it, because number one, Cody Rhodes is a jobber, and his championship reign sucks. Number two, the matches have no reasoning for why the teams are even put together. You get me? And obviously reason number three is simply the fact that because there's zero story in any type of sense in any of this booking by Triple Fraud for War Games, that means that there's less investment in what's going on. You can have as many stars as you want, but if the stories don't make sense and you're not invested in what's happening, it does not matter. That is why many fans have been asking for War Games to just be vaulted or just taken away at this point, because it's stupid and it's never booked right by Triple H. Literally never. The last good War Games match I think was like 2023 in my opinion, with with the team with Cody, Orton, and Sammy, and the other two, Rollins and whoever else it was, versus the Judgment Day. And even then that was stupid and built off of repetitive nonsensical booking for like 3 months. So something else about War Games that just makes it so stupid and poorly booked, and I've said this before like a couple times, I actually predicted that the War Games teams I think a few months ago it was in a video, maybe like a month ago or 2 months ago, I said that in a video it was going to be Rollins, Braun, and Brunson, obviously, with Lesnar and Drew McIntyre versus Roman, Punk, the Usos, and John Cena. It ended up being not John Cena, and ended up being Cody Rhodes, so you can exchange that, but it's basically the same exact teams I predicted. The only difference is that Rollins got injured and then Cena's not on the other team. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically that. But in this issue, you have this problem of this mixture of people. Roman Reigns has beat everyone on the opposing team at least 1 to 2 times, with Drew, Logan, Brock Lesnar, and Brunson Reed. And then obviously Braun Breaker and him have never fought, but he lost a tag match to him and Jay at SummerSlam, so nobody cares. And then Jey Uso has beat Braun and Brunson, and he's beat Logan Paul, and he's beat Drew McIntyre. So that's another problem. CM Punk has beat everyone on the opposing team besides Brock Lesnar and I think Logan Paul. Everyone else he's pinned or beat, so that's that. Cody Rhodes obviously is the WWE champion. He's the face of the company at this point, you know what I'm saying? Well, at least that's what they call him. You know, obviously the biggest stars are like, Roman and Punk and, Cena, stuff like that, but you get the point. Cody Rhodes is supposed to be the face of the company with the WWE championship, and he's beat everyone on the other team. He even beat Brock Lesnar 2 or 3 times in 2023. So it's like, off of that alone, and then you have Jimmy Uso, right? Him and Jay are supposed to be the greatest tag team ever in the storyline in kayfabe. In what world are the heels going to win this? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Roman Reigns has beat Brock Lesnar at least 5+ times. Like, none of this makes sense. It's stupid. And the faces should obviously win if anything makes sense. And that's why and even if they do win, right? If the faces win, what changes? What changes? Seriously. If the heels win, what changes? Rollins isn't there anymore, so the Vision gimmick is basically over. Brunson Reed and Braun Breaker are not stars, they're jobbers. So I just don't understand what's accomplished by either side winning this match. It's stupid, it's thrown together, and it's dumb when you really think about it for more than 2 seconds. And another problem I have with War Games as well, I'm sorry to keep going on this tangent, but I have to bring this up. How many times this year have we heard about Branito Breaker and Broncino Reed being brought up as the future of WrestleMania and the future of this industry? You know what I'm saying? That was the whole Vision thing that Rollins kept saying, and Paul Heyman has said it multiple times as well. When you're standing next to Drew McIntyre, you know what I'm saying? Because he can't stop thinking about Punk, and I can't stop thinking about Cody, and I can't stop thinking about Randy. You know what I mean? He can't stop thinking about Cody, not Cody, Cody, you know? So that's that. Anyways, as I was saying, this dude, Braun Breaker and Brunson Reed, both of those dudes, they've been touted as the future of Mania and all this other nonsense, right? How are they supposed to look that way when they're playing fourth and fifth fiddle to bigger and better stars? Logano Paul is standing next to them. He's noticeably bigger than both of them. He's imposing and he is a bigger star. Drew McIntyre, the same thing. He's a bigger star and he's also an actual full-time wrestler and he's much better than them at their jobs. And then obviously Brock Lesnar is the part-timer. He's the big star of the team eventually he will be because he's going to join the team probably on Raw or whatnot. How are they supposed to look like actual Mania main eventers when they're clearly not? They're standing next to people who are obviously more believable main eventers than them. It just makes them look like jobbers. It makes them look weak, and it's not good for the image of the Vision. It just isn't. After seeing Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed stand next to these dudes, it's very evident to you that Drew McIntyre or even a Logan Paul should be the ones main eventing shows, not Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell stories. They have no star power, and quite frankly, Triple H has done an awful job at building both of them. Bronson Reed beats Roman Reigns, and then after that, he's done nothing since. I'm glad that he's fighting Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship because at the end of the day, if you beat Roman Reigns, you should directly then fight for something important. That's how it should work. But at this point, it's just embarrassing. You're telling me that on a team with Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, that they're gonna be anything more than fourth and fifth fiddles than the rest of the team with Drew, Logan, and Brockly Lesnar? It's over, man. These guys are jobbers. Once you put these dudes next to actual main eventers and stars, you see how big of jobbers they are. They're fighting against CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes. Three of arguably the three biggest names in WWE. And they're fighting against them while being on a team with Drew, Brock, and Logan, who are also bigger stars than them. They look like jobbers. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker aren't even bigger stars than Jey Uso. You know what I'm saying? This is just Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. It's over, man. Just had to add that in there. We then move on. We then have basically, what is it called? Cody Rhodes basically announces that he's going to fight Bronson Reed for the WWE Championship later on in the night in the main event. I am actually going to be honest with you. Codarius Rodington choosing to fight Bronsinho Reed for the WWE Championship in the main event is huge because it actually delivers on what Cody Rhodes should have been doing for the last year and a half. Being a fighting champion, actually putting the title on the line, and on top of that, showing up consistently and doing things where he's actually involved. Not coming out and cutting an I respect you, I love you, I respect you, I respect you, I respect you. Cutting these stupid promos, man. I'm proud of you. I need it. That's not going to cut it. Okay, he needs to be going out there and actually doing things that matter and that actually involve him actually doing more than just showing up in a trench coat, talking for 3 minutes and disappearing backstage for the rest of the show. So him talking, fiercely and being competitive backstage and then defending his title later in the night, I actually really appreciated that, no pun intended. I appreciated them actually doing this with Codarius Rodington. So that's that. Then we move on. The Jobberville U.S. Championship, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they call it. The Jobberville U.S. Championship Open Challenge from Ilya Jabberov was embarrassing. All Ilya Dragunov says is he wants to fight people who have dignity, respect, and honor. Everything is about respect. So he says that because he wants dignity, respect, and honor, he's not going to fight Tommaso Ciampa, who is a jobber. He's going to fight Axiom, who is a jobber. Every single match of Ilya Jabberov's championship reign is fighting a jobber that they know is not going to win, and the match ends with him no-selling a move and then hitting his finisher and then hitting the H-bomb or whatever, and that's it. That's it. The H-bomb is his finisher. You know what I'm saying? But you get the point. This is stupid. Nobody cares about it, and it's full of jobbers. Why would anyone in the crowd, you heard the crowd was basically dead silent all match until they had to do their mandated, "This is awesome! This is awesome!" Until they had to do that chant, it was basically dead silent because nobody cares. If there's no story about what's happening, there's no actual intrigue, there's zero star power, and none of these matches have any unpredictability to them, why would I care about this match? Why? Thank you. Let's move on. Samantha Zayn comes out. Samantha Zayn basically talks about, a bunch of stuff about Solo Sikoa and how annoying he is and how, he's going to get back at Solo Sikoa. And Solo Sikoa basically comes out to the ring. He challenges Sammy. Sammy says he's medically cleared now. They brawl. The Motor City Machine Bums and Ray Phoenix and some other jobber come out there. I don't even remember who the other jobber was. They come out there. Shinsuke Nakamura. He goes out there, right? And then you basically have them versus the MFTs. They brawl around, and now what? Then the Wyatt Six video thing glitches, and we move on. This is stupid. The Wyatt Six have no place. They're barely featured. They're boring, and they suck. The Samantha Zayn team now, or Samuel Zayn squad, with a bunch of jobbers, sucks. The team with the MFTs sucks. So what is developed by this? Nobody cares. We can move on. It's then officially confirmed in a backstage segment that Jamato Uso is going to be teaming with Jay Yeetmaster and Codarius Rodington and CM Punkinator to team up eventually with Roman Reigns, which will probably be announced on Monday on Raw, to team up against the Vision at War Games, okay? So Jimmy Uso is now the 4th member on the team. They're going to get a 5th member, and that's that. Then we get woo, 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 you know it. Zachary Ryder comes out, and he is revealed to be LA Knight's mystery opponent, okay? This was pretty funny, and it was entertaining, and it was a good way to feed LA Knight a quick W, but do it in a way that was kind of funny. The only problem is I actually wish that instead of LA Knight, it would have been someone like Carmelo Hayes or something like that, but, you know, it is what it is, man. I guess younger talent just has no place in this tournament besides Javon Evans, so I don't know what to say about this. But this match was decent. It had good energy in the crowd, or decent energy from the crowd that obviously wasn't sold out, wasn't even close to sold out probably, but, you know, it is what it is. This match was kind of fun, and it was cool to see Zachary Ryder out there, you know what I mean? That was pretty funny, and I laughed multiple times while watching this match. This was enjoyable. Seeing him hit the classic, you know, like the woo boot in the corner, he hit the Rough Rider, LA Knight kicked out, thankfully. Like, this was a fun little 5 to 10 minute, like 10 minute match, whatever it was. This is a fun portion of the show. I don't have that many complaints with this other than the ones I just mentioned. So that's that. Backstage, Rhea, Io, and Alexa Bliss get destroyed and beat up by the Kabuki Warriors, Nia Jax, and Lash Legend, setting them up to eventually probably get a new teammate on Raw. Afterwards, we had a squash match with Jade Cargill, Jadano Cargill, you know what I'm saying, versus Be Fabulous. They basically fought Be Fabulous. I just gave myself an own pop for that. That's actually really funny. Be Fabulous. Anyways, Be Fabulous gets destroyed by Jade Cargill, and this is exactly what's needed here. Jade is the new champ. She's supposed to look dominant and imposing, so we need jobber matches like this, where basically she destroys whoever she's fighting and building her to her next opponent, which it looks like she's going to potentially fight Michin. Yes, Mia Yim is eventually probably going to fight Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Champion, but I will say this, even though Michin is a jobber, I think that Michin is a very respectable jobber because she puts her body on the line and she does a good job with the opportunities that she's given for the most part, okay? So, I mean, obviously she's not over with the crowd or anything like that, but Michin's respectable and she does her job. So, if they want to do like a little Smackdown, like 5 to 10 minute match with Michin and Jade for the WWE title, you know what? I'm fine with that. It's kind of like an Evan Bourne versus Sheamus match for the WWE Championship like 15 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know Sheamus is going to absolutely destroy this guy, but at the end of the day, it's still cool to see the little guy get a shot. So, that's a situation with that. Jade Cargill gets the dub. She looks dominant in doing so, and this is good booking in my opinion, at least for this match specifically. The rest of the show makes no sense and sucks, but let's move on. We then get announced that we're going to get Phineas Balor, who hasn't won a singles match, it feels like, since 1982, is now going to fight against Pentagon in the John Cena tournament. Like I said before, this tournament is already in shambles. Why are 80% of these matches just a bunch of 40-plus-year-old dudes fighting? We know they're not going to fight Cena, and then if they don't pick that, they're going to pick Gunther, who's already retired Goldberg, has already had multiple world title reigns that have sucked, and he's an overrated jobber. If Carmelo Hayes or Trick Williams is not thrown into this tournament and they don't win, this tournament is a waste of time. It's a waste of time. Gunther gains nothing from retiring John Cena because he doesn't have the ability or the potential of an actual superstar that can carry wrestling for a generation. It's as simple as that. And the other match that's confirmed is, what's the other match, man? I think it was, what was the other match that was confirmed for the tournament, man? I don't even remember, bro. I think it was, I don't even oh yeah, Carmelo Hayes and Brunson Reed. I almost forgot because Brunson Reed and Carmelo Hayes are booked like such jobbers now that it just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like nobody cares, bro. Even I love Carmelo Hayes and I want him to win the tournament, but you know that he's going to probably lose to Gunther. So it's just stupid. That's the other match that's announced. I'm glad Carmelo Hayes is in the tournament, but we'll see how it's booked. We then get to the main event. Codarius Rodington fights Broncinho Reed, and obviously Codarius Rodington, this match ends in a DQ. I'm glad that Cody Rhodes is actually doing something without, just coming out with a trench coat and disappearing the rest of the show. It's funny how when Charlotte finished her segment and left the ring, it was considered awkward. But when Cody Rhodes comes out in a trench coat and cuts a garbage promo that says nothing for 5 minutes and leaves backstage never to be seen again the rest of the episode, Corey Graves and Michael Cole have nothing to say. Very interesting how that works, isn't it? Anyways, Cody Rhodes and Brunson Reed ends in a DQ as expected. Logan Paul, The Vision, and Drew McIntyre, who's a new revealed member, they come out and brawl with Cody and the Usos. Punk and Roman are nowhere to be found, of course, and that's basically how the show ends. Drew stands tall. Braun Breaker spears Jey Uso through a table, and a really good spear, by the way. It was pretty cool looking. And that's basically it. So that's now 4 of the heels needed. We have 4 of the faces needed. The only people who are going to be left are going to be obviously Romano Reigns, and Braun Breaker will be joining the team on Raw. Raw. It'll most likely play out and Roman will be there or Brock will be there. And then like a minute or two after one of them returns, the other one will return. So if Brock comes out first, then Roman will come out like 2 minutes later. And once you think all hope is lost, and then vice versa. The faces will look like they're ahead of everyone and they're back and they're on top and everything. And then Lesnar will come back 2 minutes later and we'll get a face off with Roman and Brock or something. And that'll be that. So we'll see what takes place, but that's most likely what's going to happen. This episode of SmackDown was nonsensical garbage, a lot of empty nonsense. A couple things made sense, so I'll give Triple H credit for that. But man, this show usually being a 1 or 2 out of 10, I'm going to be honest, this show's like a 3 out of 10. It's a very, very minor improvement, only because things actually progressed and things happened, and some of the booking I thought made sense, and some of it was kind of cool and kind of good. But by that, some is like 10 to 15% of the show, if we're being honest. The other 85% was complete and utter nonsensical garbage, and that's what SmackDown has basically become for the entirety of 2025, and pretty much the same with Raw in many scenarios as well. I give the show a 3 out of 10. Let me know what you thought about SmackDown in the comment section below. And as always, I thank you guys for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.